Welcome back to Carrie's Corner, another beginning of the week. Here I am with Froggy, continuing with The Pushcart War by Jean Merrill, illustrated by Ronnie Solbert. We are getting very far ahead in this book. We are on chapter 24. The Porlet Papers, the Lima Master Plan, and the plot to capture Maxie Hammerman, from the shorthand notes of Miriam Portlet. The truck drivers, when they heard that Maxie Hammerman had been released, were furious. At a meeting of the three on May 17th, Big Mo, the Tiger, and Louis Livergreen decided to take matters into their own hands. This involved a plot to kidnap Maxie Hammerman. This plot is known because a cleaning woman, a young lady named Miriam Portlet, was cleaning an office next to the Lima office where the three met to plot against Maxie. Miriam would have paid no attention to the discussion she heard through the open transom of the Louis Livergreen's headquarters if it had not been that she was studying shorthand at an adult education class on her nights off. Miriam Portlet was studying shorthand in hopes of getting a better office job than the one she had. It was Miriam's ambition to have an office job with daytime hours so that she would not miss the evening television shows. On the night that the three met in Louis Livergreen's office, Miriam Portlet's shorthand assignment for the week was to take shorthand notes of a meeting. This assignment was a problem for Miriam. As she worked nights, she did not get to attend many meetings. There is Miriam. I think she's going to be taking notes. So when Miriam realized that some men were holding a meeting in the office next to the one she was cleaning, she sat down on her mop bucket in the hall outside Louis Livergreen's office and took down the whole meeting in shorthand notes on the backs of some order blanks that she had found in a wastebasket. The original copy of Miriam's notes, known as the Portlet Papers, is in the Rare Documents collection of the New York Public Library. A translation of the notes by Miriam's shorthand teacher reads as follows. Shorthand notes of a meeting by Miriam Portlet, Adults Education Class 2G, Seward Park High School. Dear Ms. Surwinski, 4 men are meeting together. Their names are Mr. Big Mo, Mr. Walter, Mr. Tiger, and Mr. Louis. I could not take shorthand notes of the very beginning of this meeting, as I had to look for some paper to make notes on. But the men were talking at first about ladies' hats and a movie star, and I do not think that this was an important part of the meeting. I think that the important part began when Mr. Louis said, "Let's get down to business." And by then I had found some paper and pencil. The meeting, Mr. Louis. Let's get down to business. You call the meeting, Big Mo. What is the meeting about? Mr. Big Mo. It's about Maxie Hammerman. I don't care what the police commissioner says. There's obviously a pushcart experiment. Mr. Walter. It is logical. The pushcarts have the best reason to be fighting the trucks of anyone in the city. The police commissioner does not know that, but we do. So we have to expose the experiment. Why expose? Expose. It may be exposed that the truck started it all by hitting the pushcarts. So what do you suggest, Louis? Do you have a master plan or do we not? I do not want to waste any more time on the pushcarts. Certainly we have a master plan. We're all in favor of the Lima master plan, but to get rid of the pushcarts is the first part of the master plan. Until we get rid of the pushcarts, we cannot get the trucks on the streets to carry out the second part of the master plan. Mr. Louis. The pushcarts are easy, Maxie Hammerman. It is clear is the brains behind the pushcart experiment. Get rid of Maxie Hammerman, and the rest of the peddlers will give up. I know pushcart peddlers, no fight. Would a man be in a small business like the pushcart business if he had any fighting spirit? Some people like a small business. They say, you know the customers. Customers? Who wants to know the customer? It is because they do not have the guts for a big business, and I guarantee the pushcart peddlers would not be fighting without a very strong leader. So we must get rid of Maxie Hammerman. As Louis says, but how? We will kidnap him. Then we have a choice. A choice? A choice of how to get rid of him. We can torture him until he feels like giving the police commissioner a full confession that is guaranteed to get every pushcart peddler in the city locked up. Or if he does not want to confess, he could just disappear. Or we will knock off the rest of the pushcarts one by one. Do we have to kill all the pushcarts? It is, after all, the cars and the taxis and the buses that are in our way. As you said, Louis, why waste time on the pushcarts? We have to make an example of the pushcarts. An example? Example, for the cars and taxis. For example, of what happens if a vehicle does not get out of the way of a truck. When we start on the cars, it is going to get tougher. The trucks are bigger, but there are 4 million cars in this city, and it will be very useful when we start on the cars if all over the city people are whispering, "Remember what happened to the pushcarts?" You understand, Tiger? If we are going after 4 million cars, it is necessary that the cars should be scared when we start to hit them. They are a little bit afraid now, but not so afraid that they would give up without fighting. To tell the truth, I'm not so crazy about going after the cars. But that's the idea of the master plan. You have to think ahead, Walter. There is not enough room for everybody in the streets. Why should people drive around the city for pleasure when they could take a bus? Get rid of the cars, and I can put 200 leaping lemurs on the streets. Get rid of the cars, and Big Mo can operate 50 more mighty mammoths, and I don't know how many more mama mammoths and baby mammoths, and Tiger Trucking can put on the streets double the number of 10-ton Tigers you are now operating. Frankly, I've got enough trucks now, and it's just that traffic is so bad. But that is the point, Tiger. Traffic is so bad that everybody will be wanting to get rid of the trucks if we do not get rid of them first. You see, Walter, the master plan is in defense. We got no choice. But I suppose you're right, Louis. So the plan is we finish the pushcarts, then the cars, then the taxis, then the small trucks. Trucks, but we are fighting to make the streets safe for the trucks. For big trucks. Small trucks are much nuisances, cars and taxis. They are not efficient. One leaping lemur can take the place of 5 small trucks. A small truck is as bad as a pushcart. Louis is right, Walter. Don't cry over small trucks. But we have not told the truck drivers that small trucks are part of the master plan. There he is talking about the master plan. Half the trucks in the city are small trucks. A lot of truckers will not go along with the fight if it's going to be their funeral in the end. So who's telling them? Listen, Walter the Tiger, the 3 of us have been friends for a long time. But if you do not stop talking like a small businessman, I'm going to say that 2 heads are better than 3. We all agreed to the master plan a long time ago, before the secret meeting in Mo Mammoth's garage. But when you told us the plan, Louis, you did not mention the small trucks. It occurred to me later. Anyway, we do not get to the small trucks until we take care of the cars and the taxis, and we cannot take care of them until we take care of Maxie Hammerman. Who's going to kidnap Maxie? We could each send half a dozen drivers. No, the fewer people who know what has happened to Maxie Hammerman, the better. We will go ourselves. Just the 3 of us? The three is not enough to take one man who's not expecting to be kidnapped. When will we do it? I am free next Friday night. But that's the night we play cards with the mayor. Tell the mayor we have a late game. All right. Now, how shall we handle Maxie? You want a leaping lemur for the job? No, Louis, we do not need a truck for a little trip like this. We will take my bulletproof Italian car. The notes are signed, yours truly, Miriam Portlet. P.S. An explanation to her teacher. I did not stay to the end of the meeting as I had 3 more offices to mop, but I think it was almost over. M. Portlet. As far as Miriam Portlet was concerned, the meeting in Louis Livergreen's office was just a meeting. She did not know anything about the trucking business or the pushcart business, nor had she heard that there was a war going on because she did not read the newspapers and always missed the evening news on television as she worked late. Miriam simply copied down what the 3 said at the meeting and turned in her notes to the teacher of her adult education class. She had no idea that she had been present at a historic occasion. The teacher of Miriam's adult education class, however, did read the newspapers, and he listened to every news program on television. In addition, Miriam's teacher lived next door to Eddie Maroney and went bowling with Eddie every Tuesday night. As a result, he was well informed about all the trouble that the pushcarts had been having with the trucks. So when Miriam handed in her shorthand notes to be corrected, her teacher realized at once that they were important. He apparently copied them off, or at least those parts he could read, and he gave this copy of the notes to Eddie Maroney. Eddie in turn passed on the notes to Maxie Hammerman, and the notes undoubtedly saved Maxie's life. Chapter 25. The 3 against 1 gamble and the capture of the bulletproof Italian car. Maxie Hammerman's handling of the plot to kidnap him was one of the most brilliant strategies of the Pushcart War. Eddie Maroney could not see the sense of it at first. When Eddie gave Maxie Miriam Portlet's shorthand notes of the meeting of the three, Eddie suggested that Maxie give them to a newspaper reporter. "If the Lima master plan is published in a newspaper," Eddie said, "then everyone will see what is happening." Maxie laughed. "Who would believe it, Eddie? The three men have a plan to kill all the cars and taxis in New York City? Nobody wants to believe such a terrible thing. The three will deny it, and the only thing that would happen is that I would disappear that much sooner." "Maybe you're right," Eddie said. "But in any case, you're not going to disappear next Friday night, since we know about that part of the master plan. You can be a long way from the shop next Friday night." "Certainly not," said Maxie. "You do not believe the master plan yourself?" Eddie asked. "Believe me, I believe it," said Maxie. "But this is what I believe also. I believe that the only way to win the war is to be on hand for the battle wherever it is going to be." "On hand?" said Eddie. "On hand in my shop," said Maxie. "When Big Mo and his bulletproof Italian car comes looking for me." "Oh," said Eddie. "Well, if that is the idea, a number of people will be on hand. When the three come looking for you on Friday night, there will be Harry the hot dog and Morris the florist and Carlos and one or two others in the back room of your shop to greet them." "No," said Maxie. "I will greet them by myself." "But that will be a 3-against-1 fight," said Eddie. "I'm gambling," said Maxie, "that one head is sometimes better than three." "Gambling is fine," said Eddie Maroney, "but we cannot afford to lose your head. Therefore, I am coming on Friday night to watch you gamble in case something should happen, some little emergency." "All right," said Maxie. "That would be a comfort to me, especially as you have worked with a circus and can, no doubt, handle lions and tigers in an emergency." "I only lettered the posters for the circus," said Eddie Maroney. "Never mind," said Maxie. "That takes more brains." "All the same," said Eddie Maroney, "I would just as soon we had 1 or 2 men beside myself on Friday night." "I appreciate the advice," said Maxie. "However, for the time being, I do not want you to tell the other pushcart peddlers about the shorthand notes of Miriam Portlet. My only question is, can you play poker?" And that's where we're going to stop. Stay tuned for our next continuation of the Pushcart War by Jean Merrill. Have a great rest of your day and beginning of your week. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.